The program I'm doing today is one that we're doing all over the nation. I've been to 38 states doing this program in some shape, form, or fashion. And it's called Stockmanship and Stewardship. And I do it in Texas for the AgriLife Extension. When I go out of state, I do it for NCBA and all those sponsors listed on that banner right there in front of you. We're talking about stockmanship and how it relates to the rest of our industry as well. It's not just about handling cattle. We're in this talking about improving performance, improving safety, and improving the quality of life for those that are raising cattle. We do that through stockmanship. Of all the other things that you can do to increase productivity on your operation, most of them cost you money, if not all of them. You may get great returns on it, but you have to spend money to make money. Stockmanship is one of those tools that costs you nothing other than a little time investment, trying to learn how to do things a little better to get better and make more money on your operation. And how does it make you more money? The main thing on a cow-calf operation is labor savings, facility repair. Anybody ever tear their pens down? There's a few heads nodding up and down. All right, so those are areas, but the one that most of us don't think about a great deal is shrink. Everybody understand shrink? Most people in the cow-calf business don't understand shrink. If you're buying cattle, you understand shrink. Because if you take your calves off a cow, take them to the auction market, do they weigh the same as they did when you pulled them off that cow? The answer to that's no, you just don't know it. A lot of times they'll shrink 6 to 12% of their total body weight from the time you take them off your place until they are sold at the market. By improving our stockmanship skills, we can conserve some of that shrink because we don't stress them as much. We don't have to handle them as much, and it's much quieter, and they don't lose as much body weight. That's money in your pocket. That's the quickest and easiest way to receive money for improved stockmanship. Labor is the next one. How many of you are able to find really good help all the time? Anybody? That's a problem, isn't it? And so we have to do more and more stuff by ourselves or with limited people there. And so what we're going to talk about today allows you to work a set of cattle, regardless of size, basically, almost by yourself. And I'm going to demonstrate a lot of this by myself, and then I'll use Eddie, because most of the time when we have people hired to work cattle, everybody wants to be doing something all the time. And in good stockmanship, you really have to pick your spots, because not everybody can be putting pressure on cattle at the same time. But I'm going to actually take my horse and go through it and show you how the flow should work and why it ought to work in that set of pens. When I pin them into this system, their natural instinct is going to be to come into this corral, find out I've got them hemmed up in the back, and their natural instinct is going to be to turn around and come back to this gate, isn't it? So what we've been talking about, they go away from that pressure. So once I put them in here, I'll close this gate, and they're wanting to come back this direction anyway. I'll have this one open. Nice gate horse. And then also when I open this gate, where am I positioned in relation to the cattle? When they turn around, I'm at the front and on the side. So they're going to come into this little pen. I close that gate. Their next move is to get out of it. They'll come back that way, and I can redirect them into this box. All right. Now once they come into this box, they're going to come into this box and realize that there's no place to go. What are they wanting to do? They'll turn around to come out. That gate's closed. This gate's open. You see how we just bounce them through here, taking the full advantage of the natural instinct. And every time they come into a pen and come back to where the gate was, that positions you in front of them, not behind them. So that's why this is set up the way it is, because it takes advantage of the natural flow of a cow. Now then, I want to take full advantage of these calves. And their flight zone's a little bigger still than I'd like for it to be. I'm gonna get them moving again, because once cattle set in place, they kind of lose movement. And I want to get them to where, and I'm going to just walk behind them, come back out. I want to try to keep them straight up this fence if I can. If they go around, that's no big, but I'm going to come out straight. Push them back around if I can. And get some movement started, then I can push them up against that fence and try to bring them back over here and redirect them into that pen. I'm going to step in behind them, try to turn them front ones around. I don't want to get too deep or I'm going to lose control, aren't I? So now I've got to get out here at the front, get to where I can position myself toward the front of these calves, put pressure on them. Now that pipe in the bottom is going to affect some of them. I was out of position just a little bit. But I've got some started, and that's what I need, isn't it? So now I can go down their side. And I won't take too long. Remember, this pen's not very deep, because they're going to want to start coming back out. And just by pushing them around there and then coming to the front, I could reposition myself. If I hadn't messed up on the big Brennel steer, this would have been real easy to do. Now then, these calves are not used to me being this close to them and not being able to take the pressure off, right? So I've got to be real cognizant of that and aware that they're going to want to do things a little different. That needs to be against the fence. I don't like gates sticking out like that. Now then, if I'm going to empty this pen, I just want to push them against the back fence. Just like we did over here to start with. Get them coming around. I just want to stay to the front. If I just wanted to take part of them, what would I need to do? Just go with the flow and stop them. I want the rest of them to go. Now see, I'll just turn around and get them started again. I've already got the others over there. But if you got small pens and you can't handle that many cattle, don't put them all in there. Now, it's been their idea to go into these pens, and notice they're not trying to run back out on me. That's something everybody always gets them in the gate, and they got to run up there and slam the gate. Eddie, would you open that chute all the way up where they can flow through there, maybe? I'm probably not going to send them through the chute just yet. Just push that all the way up, if it will.
Go all the way out?
Yeah, go all the way. All right. Now that's the other thing. If you've got a set of replacement heifers or something that you're trying to use in a set of pen, you know you're going to have them a while, train them to go through your system. And I'm not going through the chute yet with these cattle. I'm going to teach them to come out of that box. And see, they come back the same way. They're going to go into that box. And this is where I'm afraid they're not going to take that much pressure. Eddie, just come up here. Well, let me just see if they'll come out. Let me see if they'll come out on their own. Once I get some of them started, the rest of them will see it and come out. I want them to learn to transition out of that box. Not be any big deal. It's where you just have to have a little patience. I could rearrange this furniture if I wanted to, but we'll just give them a little time. Teach them to come out of there. There's my little Brennel steer. He's going against the flow again. His mama must have been mean to him, that's all I can figure out. But it's no big deal. He's learning to come in and out. All right, so they know they can get in there and they can get out. So now I'm gonna push them up in that other corner. Try to take a few of them at a time. All I want to do is push them away to where they've got a chance to come back and into that setup. And I'm just going to take 3 or 4 or 5, however many they go at a time here. Whoa, boogie. All right, now this is where you can do this a couple of different ways if you're doing it horseback or on foot. If you'll back into them, it works pretty good. And once they get started coming around me, I want to be able to put pressure on them to go in that opening. So I can step up here, put pressure on them, step back, and you get it butt over. All I'm doing is stepping in, putting pressure, stepping back. Putting pressure, whoop, that's my fault there. That one didn't have a way to go. I want them to learn to go through this on their own. Now it's okay if he wants to think about it a minute, that's all right too. I want him to think about it a minute. All right. Now when you got all this flow going like you want it to, you can also do it like this. You can ride a horse or walk straight into the cattle. Once they get the flow coming around you, it's a little harder to control it, but you got to take just a little bit of step to the side, put pressure on them. I see I didn't have my pressure quite as good going that direction as I did the other way. I want this little black calf to help me out there. There you go. Put a little pressure on him. Get some movement started. Let them think about it. Now if you give one that won't go on like that, I'm going to give him a little bit of time. Eddie, if you would, come over here and go up to the chute and then walk down that chute straight down the side of this alleyway. Now if you got one of them that balks and won't go forward, rather than going and getting your hot shot, try this first. All right, now walk down the side of that chute and go pretty fast. When you go bang, now see how easy that was? Now then all I have to do is let these have a chance to go. All right. Now then, that worked pretty good. Thank you, sir. But see, remember all that we were doing outside, training them when I went down their side, they'd go forward? What happened right here? He went down their side, they went forward. We've taught them how to do that out in the pasture, and they'll respond to you. All right, now my objective when I run cattle through a set of working facilities is when they come out, they're just as calm as they were when they went in. Now I've not done anything with those cattle that would be too stressful on them yet, have I? So they're just standing over here just like they were when I started to put them in the pen. Now then I'm going to see if I can put them back in the pen. And we'll do it on foot. And I like the way this little buckskin horse, he'll actually walk on out, because the way you approach cattle and the speed at which you approach them has something to do. Now notice I'm just going to build a little motion back in these cattle, kind of do it like a border collie, weaving back and forth behind them. Now I'm going to be behind already. But see what, I've stopped my movement. I don't really want to stop it. So I've got to start putting pressure on them again. See if I can get them to go in there. A lot of times we can take too much pressure off at the gate We want them to go, there's the old same old steer. Isn't that amazing how that works? All right, now I'd step up there to stop him from going past, which might not have been the best thing I ever did. Now he's not going to want to go too far, I don't think. Now all you have to do is work out to the side of those cattle to get them to do what you want. I've reached out of position a couple of times, but that's no big deal. All right. When you have a horse that works this good, you hate to get off of him, but I'm going to get off of him and do it on foot for those of you that don't do it horseback. We're going to do some other stuff here. This particular chute has a self-catch head gate on it. So I'm going to try to utilize it to start catching these calves and show you how flow will work if you're actually catching them and processing them. They already know how to go through this, so it's not any big deal. You'll also notice I'm of the age that I got a lot of panels with gates in them. You don't want to crawl over too much. And you want to have access, regardless of who's back here, where you can get up to the side and come down them just like Eddie did a while ago. Now I'm going to do this like I was working cattle by myself. Then we may do it again, or do part of them with Eddie and I both working on them. We can show you how we get more flow and more speed going through here. All right, so I'm going to try to take just about half. Now these cattle have not seen me on foot, so this is a different deal for them. All right, I'm going to try to just shut them down. I don't want to stop them too much. If I stop them too hard and too fast, they'll get to where they don't want to come back in here. We'll slow my motions down a little bit. They're not used to me being on foot. You don't want to put more cattle in there than will fit in this lead up. You don't want to put more in a crowd tub than will fit in there. Now I have this gate swung this direction for a reason. It allows me to come right here, be in the right position once I get it latched. I do like a gate right here on this. If you want to get out of there, you can. I'm just going to step in here far enough to get movement started. I need to step in behind them. Again, I need to get up here. That's my fault. I let them get too wadded up in the front. Have more fit in there than I thought they would. That's actually set way too wide for yearlings, but it's not an adjustable deal. All right. He just saw me, didn't he? I'm gonna let them a little time to back up. What I'd like to do is have this calf, if I squeeze him or whatever I do, it's the same thing I want to happen on that baby calf we was talking about. I want him to relax before I turn him loose. So once he does, that's not what I wanted to happen. That is not what I wanted to happen. I'm gonna do something else here right quick. This chute allows you to, if I get the right lever, I never get the right lever, to adjust the sides very quickly. All you have to do is pick up on it and slide them in. And that adjusts the sides on the chute. It actually works pretty good. All right. Now I'm going to do this. Now see, Eddie's up here to help me, but look what he's done to that calf behind him. I'm here to help. Like I said, there's always people in the way. But he's putting stress on that calf. What he needs to do is back away till I'm ready for him. Because that brindle calf is ready to go. Now see, all he had to do is back away and that calf came in. All right. Now then, if I'm processing cattle doing something, I'd like for that back gate to be open before I turn this one loose. Why? We get draw. Yep, that's my fault there. All right, these calves are a little nervous. Once again, we always get hung up on being right there at the chute. All right, so I need him to calm down, do my processing, whatever I need to do to him. And I actually like to let their head go first and then release the squeeze. It's kind of like you would do on, but I don't want them leaving that fast. These calves are used to coming out of here pretty blasted fast. Now here's where Eddie can help me. He can actually walk down the side of them just like that other, and I'm going to stand right here where that calf can't see me. This is blocking me. And I'm going to fan that head gate so they don't hit it so hard. But if I stand right here, they can't see me as they're coming up here. So many people want to stand right here and hold on to that handle, and then they have to hot shot the cattle past them. You're standing too close. Okay? Now, you know, if you're processing cattle and you can get them to come in here quiet and you can do all your vaccinations and everything in there behind that head gate, turn them loose, low stress, they stand out there, they're not balled up fighting it. That's what you like to have, calm cattle. All right. But this has really good neck access. If you're buying a chute or looking for a chute, look for one that has neck access, preferably on both sides. They're actually redesigning this chute to where they'll have neck access on both sides. Because right now it's just on the operator's side. Now if cattle are laying down and you approach them, pay attention. Let them have a chance to get up before you go put pressure on them. Now as I open that gate, all the cattle are facing me. I need to step out of the way, step to them just enough to get movement started. Just try and slow them down. That's where that going with them. And now I don't want to put all of these in there at once. That's a few more than will fit in this lead up. So this is where I need to make sure I control my flow going in that box, where I can try to get about half of them. I may wind up with more than half of them, but we'll see. All right, once again, you get in this box, just position yourself to get that draw started. Once they start, get up here where you can slow them down. Now slowing them down is a whole lot better than having to prod them up to get them in there, isn't it? That's where that's coming around you. We're taking advantage of every principle, cattle behavior principle we've talked about when we do that, okay? So all they're doing, they're coming around me. I'm on the front. They can see me, go around me, all those things we've talked about. That was my mistake. I wasn't going fast enough. Again, squeeze them down, do your processing. If you get the squeeze set right, this hand will be down out of your way. You have complete and free access to the neck on one of them. He's quiet and calm. If he doesn't, I'm going to give him just a second to relax. If you've got 2 or 3 people working cattle, then you can kind of get you a flow going. With somebody continuing to load this alleyway, where you don't have this pause in between working the calves. Let's see if I can work it from the outside. Now this is where you kind of have to step back a little bit further. As soon as you're ready, just turn that loose and catch the next one. And as long as nobody goes up and stops the flow of those cattle coming through there, they're just continuing to feed. And if I were to get up here too close trying to be helpful, I stop that flow. So unless you have to come up here, don't come up here and stand. Stay off to the side or stay up here working on the cattle. And then if the need arises, you walk down their side to get them to come out. So try not to get up here too close or you wind up stopping your flow. That's why I wanted to show that. As long as they're coming, let them come. Because you're trying to get some speed in that product. Everybody said, well, you go to low stress, it's slow. I don't think that's too slow, was it? All you got to do is get one in the chute, right? As long as I'm doing everything else to keep the chute full, they can process as fast as they can process. So I'm not getting overly concerned about how fast I get them in the chute. And it amazes to me in crowd tubs or whatever, we cram it full. And then we still process one at a time. Process one at a time. Now then a lot of you may cram that alleyway full and vaccinate over the top. That goes against all our BQA principles, so that's all I'm going to say about that. You need to restrain them, put it in the right place in that neck area, and if you don't know where that's at, we'll demonstrate that a little closer toward the end of this thing as well. All right, Eddie, let's come back over here and we'll both put these calves back in the pen. And now, as you approach a set of cattle, it's important that you go in. Eddie and I needs to be in a straight line. And there's just two of us, so it's pretty easy to make a straight line. And if there's three or more, you still need to be in a straight line. So we're going to stay like this, and we're going to go push them cattle to that corner. Then I'm going to back out, and Eddie's going to come in. Then we'll try to work kind of in what we'd call a T to that gate. All right, the gate will be the point of it. Eddie and I will make the top of it. So let's just push them away from the gate. Take them a little slow. Don't go up too far, Eddie. Step back this way just a little bit. Step toward me. Step toward me. Step toward me. All right. Now once again, we took them at a slower pace. I need these to come in. Ah, you rascal. He may wind up jumping out here yet. Bring him back around, Eddie, and I'm going to guard this hole. So we can just step away, and we can step this way. Might pull his eye around to that pen. We really got his attitude messed up, didn't we? That's one of those, if they ever get stressed like that, you've got to take the pressure off of them. You've got to get away from them so they know that it's all right. I'd like to try to sort some cattle from pen to pen, and I'm not sure I've got big enough pens to do it with this set of cattle, but we're going to try it and see. I'm going to put these cattle in here and put some of them in the box as a holding facility. Wait just a minute, let's do this right. And then I can use this pen to sort back in too. All right. Now these cattle need a little more room. They're not quite ready to do much sorting on. I'd been a whole lot better off to sort on them before we processed them, as always, but just to keep my crowd a little smaller, I'm going to put just a few of them in here. It can also be used to hold some sorts as well. And I don't want a bunch of them in there. I'm just going to try to put just a few. All right. Now I'm going to try to do us a color sort here. Try to sort the black ones off, leave the off colors in here. Now to do that, I've got to make sure that they have enough control of themselves and stop to them that I can do that. And I'm not sure they do, so we're going to see what happens. All right, now all I want to do is position myself where those black ones can come out and I can hold the other ones. And I had it set up and I messed it up. There we go. All right, now then I've got to be able to back off, take my pressure off of them. Y'all all think that was an accident, don't you? I'm short one pen, so I'm going to turn my black ones out and then we'll do the opposite sort. Eddie, that's our buddy there. I think he's all right when he's got somebody with him. But you want, when you're sorting cattle, like I like a little corral like this where you can send some cattle to that side and hold what, let some out the gate. It actually gives you more room to manage your sort and allows them to, when I'm through sorting on them, they're calm and these are calm. I didn't do anything to stir them up. We'll do one more sort on them before it's over with. Now this would be like working in an alleyway. And I don't think these calves are ready for that. We could do it if the alleyway was big and stout. But I'm not going to do that to them. I'm going to get them to come out of there. We'll sort them out of this pen. Trying to sort in there would be very difficult to get far enough away from them to control that movement. Now these cattle need a lot more work to be what I'd consider ready. But we're actually getting along with them pretty good. We're able to get everything done that we need to get done. And other than them three, they're not too stirred up. Now, if I do this kind of work all the time, do it the same way every time, they're going to get better and better. When I'm done, I want them to be calm. So if they're not calm when I turn them out of here, I'm going to take a little more time to get them settled here in this pen. If you're sorting pairs, a pen like this where you can let the cows out and hold the calves back, works extremely good. Just let those calves go into that box or that corner and sort those cattle out. The problem you get into if those calves that were in here that was kind of stressed, if I jumped in front of them and used a sorting paddle, pop them on the head or whatever I might have done, all that would have done was make them try to run over me. Either that or they get to where they won't come by you. To get them to sort out, they've got to be willing to come by you. I never want to use a gate for sorting. The reason being, if one of them's starting to get by you, you want to close the gate on them. And one of the most dangerous things in this industry is for an animal to get caught in that gate, for the animal and for you. Because it'll either break their neck, tear the gate up, or that gate will spring back and hit you. Now you'll get by with it sometimes, but I'd never want to use that gate to stop one. Now if you can use it to narrow the gap down, fine. The reason I've set them like this is to show you don't have to use them for a wing to pull calves out of a pen. Because if you do, you pull that gate around to the outside as a wing and then you have a tendency to go too far behind them. So it's just to make me be in the right position, because if I don't get in the right position, they'll just circle in that corral. If an animal's going toward a gate and you don't want him to come past it, back away. Totally against whatever we've been trained to do. But if you back away, he looks around normally. And if he looks around, he'll see the gate. One of the big problems you always talk about, people have a gate in the center of a fence and you can't get cattle to go through it. Think about how cattle approach that gate. You know, they're going along pretty good and you know they're going to go past that gate, right? You just know it. So you go up their sides, what does that do? Slows them down or stops them. So you get up there and make sure they won't turn around. And lo and behold, just as you get there, they turn around, don't they? Look away from the gate. Why? It's what you ask them to do. So as you go up your side, you lose your motion, you turn them away from the gate. So if you go out, if you're going to do that and they're going toward the gate right here, you go out like this, not up like this. Go out to where you can keep the angle on the eye correct. If they still are slowing down, then you can come back in, put pressure on them, go back out. So you just have to change the way you think a little bit. Not get up there and you're going to control it. It's obvious we can't control them cows that don't want to be controlled, right? You can put enough people there and you can pressure them and you can force them to do it. But if you're trying to work them, let it be their idea and learn how to go through these processes, you got to do it a little different. If you got a respiratory distress in a calf and you rope him, how good is that for his lungs? That's the common way of doing it. I'm telling you right now, in these low stress deals, you can work them sick calves around in the pasture, throw a good heel loop, catch them by both heels, pull them down, get off and doctor them. Let them up very calmly. It's by far the easiest way to doctor one in the pasture. Roping one like you'd rope in an arena is no place for that in doctoring cattle. And if you do have to neck one of them, you really ought to have somebody there to heel him and lay him down. Now a lot of people will trip them and get them down that way, but once again, you're screwing with their lungs. You're trying to get them over something, not hurt them. But that old calf that's on the fight, the easiest thing to do is pin that whole bunch and then doctor him and turn them out. Okay? So we got to keep that in mind. He don't want to be by himself. Anything I do is going to cause him stress. Stress is what's got him sick. Stress is what's going to keep him sick. That'll cause him to relapse. I got to keep the stress down as much as possible. All right, I'm gonna cheat and use the Brayford calf. And I'm gonna let Eddie kind of hold position up here, keep him from coming out. Because what I want to do is pull him out. I'm going to take him around the chute, and I'm going to pin him over there on the other side of the corrals. Okay? So as I get him pulled out, then I've got to get Eddie to step this way so he don't turn him back into the herd. So as soon as I get him lined out, and it may take me a while, I've got to teach him to drive. Now if I go in there and try to drive him out, what's he wanting to do? He wants to stay over here, isn't he? And so I've got to see if I can get over there, teach him to drive a little bit, get to where I can turn him, do what I need to do to him before I bring him out of the herd. Now see, I've got him where I can turn him around. I'd like to be able to drive him through those other cattle, but they're not going to let me do that without flushing them. So now I can get him turned around that way. Now if he comes out with some more, I'm not going to worry about it. Eddie's going to hold my cuts over there, and they're all going to come back eventually and come around me. Now don't step out yet, Eddie, he's not ready. We'll go that way, but he's not ready. That's the problem. A lot of times we can get him out pretty early, but he may not be ready to work. No, leave him there. Let's see what we can do with him. Since we got him, heck, don't cheat it. But we may have to do a little more work. Just hold that spot over there. And we're going to do him a lot like we did the big black steer. You know, that's fine getting him over there, but he's still thinking about getting out of that corral. But the good thing about putting him over there, what have I done? I've taken advantage of that behavioral principle of that herding instinct. He wants to go back to his buddies, don't he? Now if I can be in position to head him where he needs to go, because he still knows he can go this way, so I've got to let him think he can go through those corrals to get to him. Now I'd like for him to be walking. I'd like to be able to push on that eye. See, he's still turning. He don't trust me. But he's going to go in there because I've got those other calves on the other side. So think about that as you're positioning cattle to get them to pull. Take advantage of their natural instincts. Now, if I wasn't doing that with somebody helping me, it would take quite a bit longer to get this done than what it did. But two people in position, it's easy to pull one of them. We'll just do him like Eddie, get your chute. We'll just bring him through like we're doctoring. And once again, all this needs to be done as quiet and calm as you can. He's already figured all this out, hasn't he? And it's amazing how quick they do. Now, if I had them out in the pasture where I had more time to drive on them and push on them and do the things that needed to be done, I'd do that before I tried to pin him. Okay, I'm gonna get over here, we can turn him back to his buddies. But if you can sort one out that easy and bring him into the chute, try not to let him hit the head gate that hard. So kind of bang the shoulder up. There's lymph nodes in the front of the shoulder. And if they hit that chute too hard, it bruises those lymph nodes. They are involved in the immune process. So if we bruise those lymph nodes, we hurt their immunity on the cattle. So we need to try to make sure that we catch them as quiet and calm as we can. Now he didn't have a very big hole and he hit it pretty hard. So sometimes you do the best you can do. But realize you want them to hit that as soft as they can. And so that's why I'm trying to have those cattle as quiet and calm before you process them is a good deal. You'll see in the feedlots a lot of time in preconditioning facilities, they'll use hydraulic chutes. And those cattle come in, if they're coming too fast, they'll just close the squeeze down on them and stop them. And then let the squeeze off enough to allow them to ease into the head gate so they don't hit and bruise themselves. So that's the big advantage of those hydraulic chutes. You can control how hard they hit the head gate, particularly on the yearling cattle.